I've picked out this absolutely gorgeous fabric, which is going to be a backing fabric for 2 seascape textile art pieces that I slow stitched some time ago, and I really want to frame them, so I've got myself a frame. So I've just needed to pick which fabric to use. I've decided to pick one of the slightly darker linen fabrics because I think it worked really nicely with the 2 pictures, because I do want them to be slightly cohesive, even though they do have quite a different mood to them. Now, I've picked out a frame from Ikea. It's not a particularly high quality one, but it's just about the right size, and I can use it horizontally or vertically, so it suits both of the pictures. Now, this is the mount from the frame that I've taken out, and obviously one picture is slightly smaller, so there's plenty of room around it. It's called the RODALM, I think it said, but I probably butchered that. So it's just a sort of white cream colour one, and it's not particularly expensive, but it is one of those that you can hang in either orientation, and also it's got that part inside so that you can have it like really close to your picture or much further away from your picture so that it doesn't squish against the glass. It's actually plexiglass, I don't think it's even real glass, but that suits me, that's fine. So I did cut myself some mount board, and this is the backing from the actual frame itself, but the mount board, I think what I'm going to do is cut around the backing so that I know it's precisely the right size, and then I'm going to sew the picture onto the backing fabric, and then I'm going to mount that onto my mount board, but first I need to iron it. So I'm back from the playroom, and what I have done is draw around the mount board that I'd cut to the shape of the backing board from the frame. And I used one of these, I think it's heat erasable pens, but they just fade over time. So that's the actual size of the mount board that will be at the back of the piece. But I actually decided to cut it a little bit bigger, and I'm not sure whether I'm going to put it onto the mount board and sort of fold it over the back and sort of attach it like that, or whether I'm going to cut it down after I've finished. So what I'm going to do next is attach my 2 little pictures to the center of each of these pieces of backing fabric. So initially what I'm going to do is just pin them on, and then I'm going to sew around the actually no, first of all what I'm going to do is use the stick and spray, which is for fabric, and it's like an adhesive, but it's a removable one, I think. I'm pretty sure this is the one that I've used before. It's oh yeah, it's temporary adhesive, so it is temporary. So that will just sort of give me a little bit of extra stability when I'm sewing it on, but I am probably going to use a couple of pins as well here and there. I don't like pins, to be honest with you, but needs must. And then what I'll probably do is tack it down with some large stitches, and then I'll use some smaller stitches like just underneath the edge, so nothing's visible. I'm going to remove the tacking stitches so nothing is visible, but it will be securely attached to this backing fabric because I do want it to be securely attached in place. And then I'll move on to the next phase, which will be to attach the backing fabric onto the mount board that I will then put into the frame. So I'm going to do that next. So I've added some of the spray, and now I'm just sort of patting it down. I've put it right in the centre of the fabric, but I thought it's probably wiser to leave a bit of a margin for error just in case, because you know what it's like, fabric does tend to shift a little bit. With the best will in the world, it may shift a little bit, so that's just going to give me a little bit of wiggle room if I need it when I'm actually mounting it onto the board itself, just in case it sort of shifts a little bit. So there we go. All right, I'm going to go on and pin this down, and then it will be ready for me to tack in place. So that's nice and secure. So I can put that to one side and I'll do the other picture. And that's picture number 2 secured with the pins. So now I can get on with tacking them down, and then I'm going to sew with tiny stitches just to make sure that it's secured to the backing fabric, and then it will be ready to mount. I've got myself some thread that will match really well with my backing fabric, and what I'm going to do is use some really small stitches so you can't see them, just around the outside of the piece. And then I'm going to go to the back and I'm going to add some by picking up some of the fabric underneath, because it's really thick. I've got several layers of fabric there, so I'm just going to pick up some of the fabric from the back, and that will then anchor it into place. Now, it may be foolhardy of me, but I've decided I'm just going to leave the pins in, and I'm not actually going to tack it. I did get myself some lovely bright thread because I thought, well, I could just tack it and then remove the pins, but I'm actually going to go and see if I can just do it with the pins in place. Normally I don't like to use pins, to be honest with you, but I'm glad I did, because the adhesive that I use, the spray adhesive, it's not caught all the way, and I don't think it would have held it in place anyway. And I'm just being too lazy, to be honest, to do the tacking. While it may only take me a few seconds, I'm going to try this first one with just the pins in. Hope I don't jab myself too much with the pins, and we'll see if we can get it attached just using some little stitches here and there just to hold it in place. So let's see. So this is what it's starting to look like on the back of the fabric, and I think this is going to work. So I'm just going to leave the pins in, won't do the tacking stitches, and I'll just work my way around the back of the fabric all the way around the picture, and then just do a few in the middle, and hopefully that'll be enough to secure it in place. So you can see I've worked my way around the edge of the picture, and I've gone across, and now I'm just going to do one more row across just to make it very firm, and I'm going to remove the pins at this point because I've already jabbed myself. The problem is I can't see which end is the head and which end is the sharp end. There you go, it's there. So I'm going to remove those and then just do that diagonal line across there, and then that's the first one done. So it's sewn in beautifully, but it's now a bit crumpled because of my hand placement when I was sewing, and obviously I want to attach it to the board. Now, when I use the adhesive, the temporary adhesive, that might smooth that out a little bit. And to be honest, you're not going to see a huge amount of it around anyway, but I'm thinking just to be a little bit more professional with it, I might just pop it back on the ironing board and just get rid of a few of these little creases. And then I shall spray the adhesive onto the board, and then I can smooth this out, and then I can decide whether I'm going to turn that over, but it might make it a bit too bulky if I do that. We'll have to see. So I may end up having to trim it. But as my rotary blades are up the spout, I need to get myself some new ones before I can do that. So yeah, so I might have to pause and do that later. And I finished the other one while I was listening to a podcast last night. So that's now neatly sewn on there. And now what I'm going to do is just quickly iron the greasy bits and then do the spray. So I'm ironing away, and I'm being very careful not to touch any of the netting or the tulle that I put on there. And then I realised that as I was doing it, what I thought was heat erasable pen was not erasing. So always check and make sure that these things work before you use them. Now, it's not going to be a major issue for this project because it's going to be covered anyway. But it just goes to show, doesn't it? We buy these products and we think they're something, and then they turn out to be not very good at that one role we actually assigned to it. So there you go, I've learned. So a word of warning, the glue comes through sometimes and can make it look darker. Now that's going to show a little bit, but isn't going to be too obvious, I hope. And you do have to be careful, because even though I thought I'd sprayed quite a lot on, I still managed apparently to get some bumps. So not perfect, but not too bad. Now I have just turned it over and just popped it's terrible here, isn't it? I'm not very good with the camera. Anyway, you can see I've just turned it over and I've just sort of stuck it on. So I've stuck it at the back, but I haven't mitered the corner, so we'll see. It might be too bulky to go in the frame, but I'm going to give it a go. I've taken the protective wrapping off the plastic, and I've put the little sort of frame thing in there, and now I'm actually going to put the picture and the mount board and the mount on the top. So here we go. Let's see if we can. I'm very good at filming this. I'm not sure how much of this will actually remain in the video, but we've got to make sure it gets in with all those tabs on the outside. Okay, I think that's done it. Now, is it going to be, oops, is it going to be too thick to hold the back? Well, let's see. Well, it's gone in, and now I've just got to put all these little tabs back down, and I think I've got away with that. So I'll put the tabs down, and then we'll see what it looks like on the front. So that's not bad. It's actually worked quite well. I'm quite pleased with that. It's definitely not perfect. I can still see a couple of little bubbles where maybe I didn't stick it down very well. But, you know, all in all, it's sort of a bit of a shabby piece anyway. So I think I can get away with it. I quite like that. Can you see my reflection? Yeah, I quite like that. That's good. I'm pleased. Right, we've got to get the other one done now. So I found the trick was just to pop the picture onto the mount board. So I've got the mount board underneath, and then put the picture on top, and then shuffle it around so that the mount was at the same place as the backing mount board. So that's pretty much spot on. And then just check that the picture is in frame. Now, as you can see there, the picture is too far to the left. So what I'm going to do is just pull the picture a little bit further that way. And now it's a bit too far that way. So we do a little bit of shuffling. And when I've got it right, when I think I've got it right and I'm happy with the general positioning of it, I think that's not too bad, I'll take the mount off, and I will spray. I'll just move the picture. So I'm not going to actually spray with you on because it takes a bit more precision. So I would then just move it back, spray on there, and then smooth it down. That's what I did with the other one. Now, clearly it didn't work out perfectly, but we're going to give it another go and see if this one comes out a little bit better. Or if not, then we'll just live with it. You hardly see any of the background, to be honest, for this one. So we shall see how it goes. I tried to do a slightly lighter spray this time rather than globules. So I got a little bit further away. Let's see if this works. So that's the back side done. And I didn't mitre my corners by cutting them. I literally just folded them in again like that. So it is a little bit bulky, but it worked last time. So, and definitely a smoother finish. So the trick is, without a doubt, just to hold the spray a little bit further away. I was way too close last time because I was fiddling around. So there you go. So there's a top tip. Okay, so what we've got to do now is get the frame and pop it into the frame. And we've got to remove that plastic. Okay, so this is the second one and it's gone in beautifully. So I'm really pleased with that. So just a tip, because I wanted to have some of the fabric coming from, I wanted it outside of the mount. Originally I put the mount in and then I put the picture on top and put it into the frame. And then I thought, oh, hold on a minute. That's then tucked in behind the mount. So I had to then take it out and put the picture in the mount, pull the fabric out so that it was at the front of the mount, and then put the mount and the picture in together. And then that just made that it was sat in the frame properly. And the other thing is, if you are one of those people that can't stand it if there's a piece of lint or something stuck to your picture on the inside of the frame, then I advise you to get your lint roller out and check your picture and check your frame before you put it together. Otherwise it will drive you crackers and you'll have to take it apart again. So that's a top tip. Check for lint before the picture goes in. I think I can probably live with a couple of pieces I've seen, but maybe not. I'll just have to not look so hard. Oh, and the other top tip is, before you actually put your little tabs down, just make sure you've got it the right way up. The first time I nearly put it on with that on the bottom part. So just lift up your picture and make sure that it's the right way up before you put all your tabs down, because they're a bit of a nuisance opening and closing. And I don't know how robust they're going to be, whether they will actually last many bends. So we'll see. It's not a very expensive frame. But anyway, there we go. I'm quite pleased with those. So that's that one and that one. And now I just need to see if my husband will pop something on the wall for me. Actually, I think he bought me some of those stick-on hooks. So I might see if I can find those and get him to put those up. And I'm thinking maybe we shall put the horizontal one there and the vertical one there. And then it will be in the extension and it'll be near me while I'm working. So thanks very much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed seeing me do the framing. If you did, please give me a thumbs up, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Can you see me waving? Bye. Another top tip: protect your work surfaces, because it's easier than wiping up sticky residue, although it has come up fairly easily. There we go. Now, if you're wondering where the bunnies are, they're actually outside in their little area. So I'll show you them in a minute. So thanks very much for staying till the end. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Take care. Bye. Say hi, Coco. There's Luna. There's Luna. Where is she? There she is. Hello, Luna.